Greetings, Benjamin J. from BENZTRAINZ with another in the series. Well, here's something we haven't seen for a while. The Lionel 33 standard gauge locomotive and its original consist. Now, I picked this up months and months ago. Anyway, the 33 came in a bag and it was just absolutely trashed. In pieces, the motor didn't run. The motor was absolutely junk. It was trash. It was beyond saving. Anyway, so I adapted a Marx motor. I did some measuring on the Marx motor and found out the output gear has the same number of teeth as the main drive gear in the transmission for the Lionel 33. Now, this is 1913 to 1924. So it's between 107 and 96 years old. This is an old locomotive, and it is absolutely gigantic. Original gondola, original freight car, original passenger car. I went on eBay and bought two standard gauge trucks and built this flat car out of two Lionel paint stirrers and the original caboose. This thing is it's a monster. Just to give you some idea of how big this is, here's a Marx 999 and it fits in the gondola, as you see. The thing is just absolutely gigantic. So in any case, it was beyond hope. So I adapted a Marx motor to power the transmission to drive the wheels. And this old locomotive is up and running. Standard gauge track. This stuff was junk when I got it. I had to derust it, so I derusted it in vinegar. And it actually surprisingly runs really well. Anyway, I haven't had this thing out in quite a while. And just trying to keep myself busy. So it was either run trains or start drinking. So I figured I would run trains. Anyway, the Lionel 33, 1913 to 1924, these things are quite expensive on eBay. Hundreds of dollars. What this one is worth, I have no idea with that Marx motor in it. But it does run, and as you see, it's actually, for being 107 years old or 100 years old, it's actually in fairly decent condition. So I thought I'd pull it out, set the track up, and let's run this, take it around and see how it runs. I have not run this yet. I just got the track plugged together, original track. As you see, it's the 3-rail. It's made identical to O-gauge track, just on a much larger scale. So I've got a magnetic lock-on on the rail, running it on a Lionel transformer. Let's see how it runs. So as you see, it actually runs really well. So I transplanted that Marx motor into it to drive the transmission, to drive those gears. I painted the gondola. The gondola was covered in rust. But as you see, this actually runs quite well, considering its age and considering it's put together out of a bunch of junk parts. I mean, it's like I said, this thing was in a bag. But if you want to see the process of putting that Marx motor in, I did an entire series on this. So you can look back through the old videos, just look at the Lionel 33 standard gauge. Anyway, I have not run this thing in months. So I figured I'd put it on the rail, run it, see if it still works. Obviously it does. It's running absolutely splendidly, as you see. Now this is big. There's no doubt about that. This is just an absolutely gigantic model train. But as you see, it runs well. The problem with it, of course, is it's just too big. It takes up lots and lots of room, just this little tiny track. And with the space available, I could extend this one piece of track to make it longer. And that's it. So anyway, I just thought I'd do a quick video on this. Thing's been setting for months. What I'm going to do with it, I have absolutely no idea. It's been under the layout for 6 months or probably longer than that. Not really sure how long. It's been a while since it's been run. Anyway, I thought I'd plug the track together, put it on and run it, do a quick video. It's been a long time since this was run at all. Now, as you see, it runs actually quite well. So I transplanted a Marx motor to power the transmission to actually turn the wheels. Original gondola, freight car, passenger car. I made the flat car out of Menards paint stirrers and 2 trucks. and of course the original caboose. Now this stuff is old. I mean, it's hard to believe that it can actually be this old and still run. But the locomotive is 1913 to 1924. All original cars except for that flat car. And actually running quite well. Now this track was just absolutely eaten alive with rust, so I derusted it in vinegar. And as you see, it saved it, brought it back to life. It runs perfectly. There's no problem with the track at all. The locomotive runs nice. Lightly sprayed it with black paint. This thing was just, it was junk. That's all you can say about it. Like I said, it was in a bag. The shell itself was in 3 different pieces. The motor was beyond repair. And it's up and running. As you see, it's actually running quite well, considering. Anyway, like I said, trying to keep myself busy. What I'm going to do with this, I have no idea at all. So I don't know if I want to sell it. I might trade it. I don't know. If anyone's interested, contact me. But anyway, it's been under the layout for months and months. So I figured I'd just plug the track together, see how it runs. Anyway, a Marx motor brought this thing back to life. The output shaft gear had exactly the right number of teeth to mate with the transmission in the frame itself. I had to do a lot of modification to get that motor in there. But as you see, it works. It actually runs really, really well. The problem with it, of course, is it's just too big. And it's really expensive. These locomotives sell for $300, something like that. The cars themselves, depending on the condition, $100 each. But it runs. That's the neat thing about it. And it is original. It does not have an original motor in it, but the frame, wheels, transmission, chassis, shell, all of that is original. As you see, got the bell on the back, it has the headlight, everything works. It runs well. It's acceptable looking, I mean, considering the age. And the nice thing about it, of course, is the fact that it runs. So, just want to do a quick follow-up video on this. Like I said, if you want to see the original series, just go back through my videos, Lionel 33. I did an entire series on mounting that Marx motor in there. Anyway, like I said, I was bored tonight, didn't know what I was going to do, so I figured I would pull this out, plug the track together, throw this old locomotive on there, and let it run. It's been sitting idle for months and months. Cobwebs all over it, in fact, as you can see on that caboose. I don't know if you can see it or not. Anyway, thing was covered with cobwebs, dust, dirt. First time it's been on the rail in months and months. So I didn't know if it was going to run or not. I've been absolutely neglecting this old locomotive. But as you see, it runs well. The flat car actually looks quite authentic considering it's made out of Menards paint stirrers. I found 2 standard gauge trucks on eBay and bought them just to build that, just to give me another car. I made the couplers out of hacksaw blades. Pretty crude, but it works. It runs. It actually runs really well. And it gave me another standard gauge car. Anyway, just wanted to do a quick video on this. It's old. It's actually quite fascinating to see it running. The problem again is it's just too big. This thing's monstrous. You saw that 999 actually fits in the gondola. In fact, just as an experiment, let's put the gondola, or put the 999 in the gondola and see if this 33 can actually pull that weight. Let's find out. So, grand experiment. No problem at all. So anyway, you can see how big this is. I mean, that's a Marx 999 in the gondola. Actually running really, really well. So anyway, I just wanted to do a quick video to document this. First time it's been up and running in months. So I figured it'd give me something to do tonight. So I plugged the track together, got a magnetic lock-on on it, threw the locomotive on it, put the consist on, and here it is, up and running. Like I said, 1913 to 1924. This is an old locomotive. As you see, it actually runs quite well. Far from perfect. Has a Marx motor in it to power it, but at least it's running. That's more than it was ever going to do on its own. This thing was junk. I mean, literally junk. The entire locomotive was in a bag. The shell was in 3 parts. The motor was disassembled and beyond repair. Just absolute junk. So I spent some time on this. Found a way to adapt a Marx motor to power the transmission to run the wheels. Got it mounted. Got the contactor up and running. Got the track itself up and running. Like I said, I had to derust this in vinegar. This track was in really poor condition. Well, that's the nice thing about derusting in vinegar. As you see, it doesn't look new, but it runs like new. It restores the conductivity to the rails. The thing runs absolutely perfectly, as you can tell. Anyway, like I said, if anyone's interested in making a trade of some kind, let me know. You can contact me by email. But I just wanted to do a quick video on this. Been sitting for a very long time, trying to keep myself busy. So I figured let's set up the standard gauge and run it. So the Lionel 33, 4 original cars, 1 car that I made out of paint stirrers, and as you see, it actually runs quite well. So just a quick video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.